Good morning, everybody. Happy hump day. It is Wednesday. We are going to be kickstarting this one with more beauty as we have already throughout this week. But now we are going to be seeing a bit of some changes, some that are a little bit more pressing than others, and honestly, a lot that just really attributes to good news. And I'm happy to bring you guys that this morning. Good morning again. It is Wednesday. I am WIS First Alert Meteorologist Tony Chiavaroli, and we are going to be getting you into this first alert forecast situation where for today, we're going to be getting a bit more of these conditions to try and just hold pat. And by that I mean rain chances holding steady. We've seen some of it already past couple of days getting into our afternoons. Spotty storms flare up. We get a couple of severe warnings by the afternoon. We can be seeing that again today. All the ingredients are still in play. Still going to be a hot one out there. You can feel that morning humidity that can attribute to more of just some instability to our skies. So let's see how that's all going on, because it's going to be all working on to this. Storm chances each day going all the way through the weekend. This has been really more of what we've held on to in a regard of not as much in the way of rain coverage and clouds, but just the chance of having to have that caution in the afternoon, saying, okay, it feels like we can get a thunderstorm out there. Oh, guess what? You can. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen every day. Just because we feel like it, even though it's there's a lot of muggy mornings out there, the moisture's in play, it doesn't mean there's going to be storms that pop up into the afternoon, even though you might think that there will be. But this is going to be a week where that will be a good likelihood. So let's go on. Let's start out the day. Let's continue to see more of that traffic going in and out of Columbia. Looking good. Broad River Bridge soaking up some of that sun to start out the day. We see mid-70s still hanging in there. It's been a really, really gorgeous start. Man, those morning commuters out there, a treat to drive for a start like this, especially because earlier today we saw a very nice sunrise color, and between our capital city all around the Midlands, it was just a beautiful South Carolina morning. Now, as we get into the tidbits here, we will be seeing heat working to hang on today, so you got to factor that in. We get more storm chances that will be bubbling up each day, and more rain in general from what I'm looking at in terms of how things are timing out as they approach South Carolina and getting into the late week. That's what I'm talking about. More rain is what I'm looking at, and what of course is starting to play out now in your future cast as we bring you through the next few days. So still want you to be worried about the heat today, because it's still going to be getting pretty sweltering, just not seeing a heat advisory for your Wednesday before we get these temperatures to take a step back. And they will. We'll have some nice changes in that regard late week for those that are looking for a little bit of a cool down. Starting out this day, a few clouds mixing with that sun. Hazy sun remains in play, and by the afternoon, as the old story goes, we have the moisture in place. We're still getting some of that pushed up from the Gulf of Mexico, and in between that, really 3, 6, 7 p.m. time frame, going late towards the evening before sunset, we should easily get some isolated storms around the region. It's just a matter of who is going to be getting them, where will they be setting up, because everyone is just about in the same boat. However, a lot of us will still be staying dry out there. Everything remains spotty with storms today. Thursday, a bit more coverage is what I'm thinking. Not as much during the daytime hours. We're still going to take a little bit for this to form. 2, 3 p.m., okay, we see that for the afternoon. But once we start to get to the later portion of the day, your dinner time hours, I guess would be a good way to put it. For most people, 5, 6, 7, that's when we see a bit more of this coming to a point. You have the temperatures and some of the moisture that builds throughout the day, everything that is there just after peak heating, and even going into the early evening period. Even when that sun goes down sometimes, you still hold on to that energy in the atmosphere that can help to send moisture upwards. And when you get that daytime heating, the moisture being forced up into the skies, you got to remember that heat rises. It's a key factor in thunderstorm production. It's just going to keep happening because of what we've seen now with this pattern that isn't too dry. We actually have the potential to see rain and storms pan out into the afternoon. Friday now is going to be a little different. More of the isolated activity to try and fill in a little bit more will happen between today and tomorrow, but Friday is different in the way of not just rain chances, but temperatures as well. Now, between today and tomorrow, I'm thinking 40 to 50% coverage of the region. So 40 to 50% of you out there will be getting some showers or storms. And again, that's not just straight up population. That's just based on landmass. Landmass is how we go off these percentages. So even though more of our population could see rain and storms, that doesn't mean everybody is going to be doing so. So in short, we get this into Friday, going to be upping this to around 60 to 70% of our region, likely getting to see some of that rain activity. The big change here will be a cold front dropping down from the northwest. And once that sets up, it's going to not just bring us, of course, that, but also more cloud coverage. So everything that's factored into the rain, the clouds, the temperatures, it's all going to be on a trend to try and cool us off. And I'm loving to see that. We need to hold on to it. It's good for farmers out there. It's great for vegetation, and just to try and give us, a little bit of relief as we have seen so many hot days, just like this one. National Hot Dog Day for a hot Wednesday. We are going to be getting afternoon storms to bubble up in that very spotty sense. Still keep eyes in the sky because of that. And then as we get you forward into Thursday and Friday, pushing towards the end of the work week, we will be getting that big drop back. High temperatures only going to be climbing into the 80s, which will be pretty good to see. It's some of these days where we've been getting even temperatures, 100 plus. It's been tough. And some of those afternoons just, man, you go outside, instant sweat. But that won't be the case now as we get later into the week. We still have humidity to linger around, yes, but with that temperature taking a step back, it'll be a welcome change. I'm telling you right now, especially with how we can see some of that 50 to 60% coverage of rain for a lot of our afternoons to come. So we look to that next week as well. It's going to be great news trying to dig out of drought phases that have found themselves into South Carolina. Let's continue to be mindful of this and watch how it all pans out. And obviously, for more up-to-date information and live tracking of storms, you can download that WIS First Alert Weather app. Of course, a lot of you might have that already, especially checking this out here on a digital platform. So thank you again. For more of that info, you could always take a check of our website, still up on the lead story there. Your First Alert forecast, that's WISTV.com. And for more news updates, even on this live stream, you can take a check at What's New This Morning. That will be coming right up around 9 o'clock. Thank you for being here on this Wednesday. We're getting you over the hump. We're going to make it a great rest of the week. And you know what? Just as a thought right now, if you're still listening, you can pack that umbrella. Toss an umbrella somewhere in the car just so you have it in case, because even though it's that isolated sense today, still filling in a little bit as the week goes on, you could easily end up getting caught out in a downpour if you have some later day plans. Make it a great rest of your week.